She's laughing with a whiteboard clear, unpacking a fresh pack of pens, never willing to accept sincere. She's loved in many channels, every gay chant on nights and black blue lights. Heaven help them when she recites. Mysterious life, girl got skills. She moves in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. Makeshift desk and a cat that bites. When you see her coming, take your pills. No place for snowflakes or sensitive hearts. When sentiment is left to chance, she'll send you back to your start. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switches to crumpet, bends them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Verse by verse, exploring the text. She reads and recites, not knowing the tongue, learning every step of the way. Melts all your memories and feeds you facts. Her zeal is like fire, but her heart is of gold. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switch to crumpet, bands them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Smooth moderator. 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 Ooh, moderator.
Good evening, everybody in the live chat, here in the panel. Anyone lurking? Hello. And
Hi,
happy Thursday.
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to
And
see you. Well, hear you, I should say, Nagar. How
yes,
are you?
yes, yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Did I check? Does it say Nagar on my name? Because not NW anymore.
No, I've changed it so that
Oh,
people
thank
know
you. Oh,
how
okay,
yeah,
okay,
it's just so people know how your name is spelt.
okay, lovely.
To save me
Okay,
having to put it in the chat. So
okay,
it's good to hear you, and I'm pleased that you got here promptly. I appreciate that.
that's fine. Anytime, yeah.
Great. How was your travels, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I had quite an adventure. We were flying from Bristol Airport, and we got to the flight 5 minutes late, so we missed the flight.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Anyway, but I'm going with my friend who is a Romanian, and his mom lives in Romania. His family live in Romania, so I was going to stay with him. And
Yeah.
so he knows a lot of people, and he kind of sat there and thought about it, and he bought another ticket, and we drove all the way to Heathrow, and we got on the flight from Heathrow, and we got to Romania a bit late, but we got there last
That's
week.
amazing.
It
Yeah.
is. It was amazing because I thought, oh, the whole thing is cancelled now. We just go home. But no, we got there, and it's very cold in Romania, actually. Well, it was cold when we first arrived. It was 3 degrees, and it was very cold at night. And then we drove into the mountains, and it was snow there. You could see the snow on the ground still laying there. And
Yeah.
a lot of things are behind. Here all the daffodils are out, and everything. The daffodils are not out yet. So they're at least 2-3 weeks behind us in weather-wise. But it was
Yeah,
good. It was great fun to see a different country, and they're kind of developing. It's not quite there yet, but it was good. It was very good. Yeah, I had a
that's
good
good.
time.
Nice one. I'm pleased you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So what I've noticed is like it's gone very cold over here the past couple of days, but before that it was quite like a warm spring, as if that's what was coming. So I think we're going through those tumultuous temperatures, if you know what I mean, like the change of
Mm,
the
mm,
seasons. So
yeah. What I've
hopefully,
noticed here at Romania as well, actually, that they have more extremes of weather. So, like in the winter, their weather goes down to -20, and in the summer goes as high as 40 degrees. Now, we in at least where we are in the south of England, southwest, we go to -5 sometimes, very rarely, and then if it's very very hot, we might go to 25 or 26. That's about the limit of it, really. So we
yeah.
have more moderate temperatures than what they do in Europe. I mean, they do go. It gets very cold in Romania in the winter.
Mm, suppose it will.
Yeah.
Do they have like skiing resorts and stuff like that over
Yes,
there?
yes, in the mountains, yes. And you could see them, when we were driving into the mountains, the places where it could be just they keep the snow, or there sometimes they put not artificial snow, but they spray water to freeze and it becomes like snow. And then people is they're skiing going on. Yes, we could see them on the slopes far
Oh,
away. And we went
yeah,
we went to an area where it was a medieval castle where it's associated with the legend of Dracula, and Queen Mary of Romania lived there in the beginning of the 20th century. She lived in that castle, and it was
yeah,
amazing because it was like a Tudor house, but it was a castle. It was timber framed and going up, and some of it was stone works and some of it was wood, and but it was quite an amazing structure,
yeah.
and very narrow staircases going up and then coming down and down. It was quite interesting.
Nice one. Sounds actually, it's been like quite an adventurous time you going out
Yes,
there.
yeah, it was. Yes,
Oh, that's cool.
quite different than here.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's ravioli.
Ah,
Ravioli, are you with us yet? You're muted.
muted. Yeah.
Hmm. I wonder if he's having technical difficulties because he came in, then he dropped back out.
Okay.
Can't yeah,
Well,
he's dropped out again, so I think he's having some
yeah,
technical difficulties.
yeah.
Okay. Um, I do have for us this evening a totally different topic to what we've gone through in the past. So it's not a continuation. This is a brand new one, but I'd rather wait for Ravioli to join us fully before I announce that. So how about we have a little tune while we
Okay.
wait for him?
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, can you hear?
Exploring consciousness. What does it mean?
We could hear you,
Looking up
Ravioli.
definitions.
Okay, but I think we're going to play some music now. I think Lieutenant is going to come back.
From the realm of the dead, stumbling through fractured reality. Truth is a needle in a haystack, wondering what happened to me. hits, thinking slow and fast. Watching narratives fall apart at the seams. Waking up, waking up. Watching narratives fall apart at the seams. Waking up, waking up. Waking up, waking up, waking
Welcome, Ravioli. I hope everything's going
hello,
all right.
hi, Lieutenant. Sorry, I was late. I had some
No
technical
problem.
problems.
Yeah, it looked that way. I just want to welcome in the chat. We've got Tina, we've got Mucka, and we've got Big Nuts Cumbria. Good to see you all. And again, hello to whoever's out there lurking and all the rest of yous. So I'm about to, my door's about to go because I'm expecting something. So I'll try and do this before they do actually buzz it, and then I'm going to have to mute and leave you to chat. Oh, hello, Craig, as well. Welcome. So, yeah, I'll announce this topic. Tonight's topic is slavery. What do we really know?
Okay.
So, I want you guys to express your understanding of slavery.
Lieutenant,
Just
can I have one thing,
enjoy
please?
discussing it. Yeah.
The drum roll didn't happen this week. Why? Usually you have a little drum
What do you
roll.
mean? I did the drum roll.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Right, we'll talk about it later. Can you guys discuss the topic slavery? What do we really know? So I'd like you to discuss your understanding of slavery, anything and everything about it, just while I wait for my daughter to go.
Okay.
All
So
right, then. Okay.
slavery was when they a person was bought for life, so they didn't have much of a choice except that they could give their labor, and they were provided with food and shelter, presumably, but no wages was given to them. Gone.
Yeah, I was thinking. Well, I was thinking. Yeah, I just like. I mean, I think it's well, from in my opinion, sorry, like human rights, right? It would be like your rights as an individual are like taken from you. I mean, that's kind of my understanding of it. I don't know.
Yes, I think the worst part of it was they actually had markets where they would put a person on a stand, and then people would come and look at them and see how strong they were and if they were healthy, or
Yeah,
if they were of child, bearing age, and then they will buy accordingly. They will assess the goods like a human being was a good, like you would buy a horse or a cow, and then they would bid for it, and then they'll buy it and take the person. And I think we associated mainly with black people being sold, but originally slavery was any color, any nationality.
yeah.
They were part of spoils of war, basically. If you defeated your enemy, you took all their children, women and children, and young men as slaves to work for you.
I'm thinking as well. I don't know, like I'm like correct me here, the guy. When people are married without their consent too, is that slavery?
They, not strictly speaking, is to do with marriage rights. In certain.
But isn't that like slavery? That'd be their rights are infringed upon.
Well,
Forced.
that would be human rights, not slavery exactly. But
What about child soldiers for war? You know, when they take children against their rights and will and things, and make them, you
that
know,
is
sort of groom them
slavery.
for. Yeah.
Yes, that is slavery, but there are different kinds of slavery. But in the forced marriages, it could be men. We kind of consider it to be only women who get forced into forced marriages, but it could be men as well. I mean, young men as young as 15 or 16 will be forced into marriage. It's usually less. They have more of a choice, but sometimes they don't have much choice. They marry whoever the parents tells them to marry.
Mm.
But the women are more likely to be forced into a marriage, forced marriages. But that's something separate,
What about
really.
when people have um, you know, if you fall in debt, you know, if you get in debt with people,
Yes,
don't sometimes they say like, look, okay, you know, you come work for me and we'll pay off the debt, right? But then, you know, they trap them. Sometimes they trap them,
yes,
don't they? Is that
that's right.
slavery?
Yes, that is slavery. Yes, yes, yeah. Yes, there's many different kinds. I mean, if you can say the fact that we work a certain number of hours per day, but we get paid for it, is a kind of we're selling our labor for the money that we get. But that's how society works, really. Otherwise, we couldn't make it work. We couldn't get the services we wanted, but so we pay for the services that we want with money, but we do get them.
You,
Um,
the guy, when you think, well, I'm thinking of like the Bible here. So you know, in the
yes,
Old Testament.
yes,
So what I remember, I don't know if someone in the chat can like maybe double check to make sure I'm not talking rubbish. I think the Mosaic law would say like if a Israeli, you know, an Israelite had a debt to another Israelite, they could sort of slave them for a period of 6 years. I think it was 6 years.
uh-huh.
But then after 6 years, they could no longer be. They had to release them. They were no longer a slave.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
see.
I think it was. I don't know the bit in my mind that I'm confused about is I think it was 6 years in the Torah.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, there was in the beginning of Islam, if people Muhammad bought slaves from their owners, and then he released them. And and I think Salman, the Persian,
oh yeah, yeah.
they had to plant a certain number, hundreds of trees, and once they were planted, and everybody helped plant them, and then he was released from slavery. So there was ways of buying yourself out of slavery, and I think there are stories about people who earned somehow the approval of their masters to regain their freedom. Um,
So
And
that's interesting.
oh, oh,
What you were saying there, Nagar, about employment. Like some people would regard that as slavery. However, the difference, as this is my thoughts anyway, the difference between slavery and employment is that in employment you have a choice of whether to work for them or not, um, and you make that agreement, that deal, that contract. Whereas with slavery, you don't have a choice and you don't receive anything in return for your efforts, and you're just kind of sold to this one, that one, and the other one.
that's true. But I
Yeah.
think if you look at the history of labor laws, originally they're, um, I mean, in case of a maid in a household, she would get one afternoon off a week. And the rest of the time she was working basically in the household. But gradually, labor laws came in and said, you're supposed to have holidays off, and then one day a week off, and then a number of hours that you work were specified. I mean, they gradually got reduced to 8 hours a day, but at one time I think that to work 16 hours a day was quite normal for certain people. So gradually, labor laws has come in and become more and more kind of established and become a little bit fairer than it used to be.
Yeah.
Can I add something? I think like modern day now, is it the Modern Slavery Act 2015? If you're
Right.
caught, if you're caught involved in this, it says here perpetrators face potential life imprisonments for slavery in the modern day.
Yeah, yeah. But still goes on, doesn't it? Because,
Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. I mean, as far as like Islam's concerned, they still have a slave trade over in the Middle East and in Africa.
I don't know where would it be in the Middle East because I mean I haven't seen any markets where they sell slaves. I don't know how would they do it if they sell slaves. I don't.
Well, for example, you have, like, let's compare it with China, right? In China, it does seem as though you're born into slavery because it's quite like the conditions of slave labor over there. And you have the same kind, this is as far as I'm told anyway, the same kind of system in places like Dubai, where you have these very high standards of living in these complexes, but outside of these complexes, there's supposedly this kind of not well publicized scene of like workhouses type situations where
Um,
people are going through kind of slave type
yeah,
conditions.
yeah.
the
Well, I
guy.
can tell you from actual observation. I mean, people
Okay.
come in Bahrain. I haven't been to Dubai, but in Bahrain, there are people who come to Bahrain from Bangladesh, uh, for instance, to sweep the streets. They have a contract for 2 years only. I don't know about the times they get off or what kind of housing, but I think their housing is pretty poor. They are given a uniform and an area of the town where they have to sweep and keep it clean. And they are you come in, in groups of people, they have a overseer. They don't speak any Arabic or English. Only language they speak is Bengali. And they do this work. And it is, I don't know how many hours they do it either. But you see them keeping the place clean always. But they get a wage. I think the thing which concerns me more than anything is their living conditions, what kind of condition they live in. Um,
Like
and after 2 years, they either can renew the contract and stay for another 2 years or they go back.
the
Yeah.
guy and lieutenant. The guy, is it Nizam al Kafala?
There is Nizam al Kafala as well. That's
But isn't that
something
slavery?
else.
What is that? That's like that's kind of like, well, it's
No,
near
it's
slavery, isn't it?
no, no, that's not slavery. A person
Why?
who
Why is it not slavery?
well, I'll explain to you what
Sorry.
Nizam al-Kafala is, unless you got some information about it already. Can you read what you got about it?
One thing I will add, right? Because you said about Bahrain.
Yes.
It says in '09, Bahrain was the first country in the Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) to repeal the kafala system. In a
Yeah.
public statement, the Labour minister likened the system to slavery. Changes to the labour market regulatory law were made in April '09 and implemented starting 1st of August 2009. Under the new law, migrants are sponsored by the Labour Market Regulation Authority and can change from one employer to another without their employer's agreement. 3 months' notice is required to quit from an employer. So Bahrain was apparently in the Gulf,
Mm-hmm.
like pretty advanced in removing the
Yeah.
kafala system.
Well, it's the way the kafala system, as far as I understand it, Rupert, is like this. You bring a worker in, say a gardener for your garden, for your house, and you're sponsored this person. So you're responsible for this person who's coming. So if he commits a crime or runs away, you're responsible for it. He's kafil. You are
Right. Yeah.
the government comes to you, not to him. Once they find him, if he runs away, once they find him, the policeman comes for the person who is a Bahraini because he is responsible for his gardener. Um, but he still gets a wage. He still got a contract for 2 years, and he can leave after. Now they can leave before the 2 years. But at one time, you had to work the 2 years to work your contract, and then you can go.
Right. Okay. Yep. Yep. It's interesting here as well, like because I didn't realize it in Saudi Arabia there were some cases where her name was Sumi Akhtar,
I
or
don't
actor,
know who that.
Bangladeshi lady in November 19,
Yeah.
because she'd been, like it says here, quote, mercilessly sexually assaulted, locked up for 15 days, having her hands burnt by hot oil by her Saudi employers. And then there was a lady called Nazma Begum who was tortured. So, I mean, that's Saudi Arabia, I guess. But
Yeah, atrocities goes on, I'm afraid. Dreadful. But you cannot say you can say it's abuse of their rights. You can't say
yeah,
it's slavery because they're getting a wage. They come of their own volition, if you like, to work in Saudi Arabia or Bahrain or Emirates or Kuwait or Qatar. But if the employer is not a nice person, well, they imprison them and torture them and all
to
sorts
be
of
fair,
funny.
with that one, the guy was Saudi, that was 300,000 Bangladeshi women. So there were only 2 cases from 1991 to 2019. So what that be? That's 28 years. There are only two
Yeah,
cases.
yeah.
So that, I
Those are
suppose.
the extreme ones. Yes,
Yeah.
mostly people are treated okay, and they return with the money they make and build their own houses, and they kind of set up their life.
Yeah.
Um, the ones I've known in Bahrain, the Bangladeshis that I've known, they seem content with what they're getting, and they're building houses. The whole family benefits from it in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So that sounds more like a contract as opposed to slavery, where you're actually owned and you've got no say over anything.
That's right. That's right.
Whether the conditions are poor or not is another matter, but
Yes.
that's what it sounds like to me anyway.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
the reason I've chose this as a topic is because I opened up an app that I use for my news, and there's an article talking about the UN declaring the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. And so I thought, what a great topic. Is it actually the gravest crime against humanity or not? Like, because I don't trust the UN. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And with regards to slavery, there's been slavery throughout human history, as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's worth looking into.
Mm-hmm.
After we've had a little break,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read the article on which talks about the UN deeming the transatlantic slave trade as the biggest crime against humanity. You know, like in my mind, I look at, say, the grooming gangs and stuff like that, and that is sex slavery, right? Human
Mm-hmm.
trafficking is slavery. Yeah? So you've got
Mm-hmm.
child sex slavery there, and I'm wondering, because it hasn't just happened in this country, it happens in many countries
Yeah.
all around the world. When you accumulate that, and you know the numbers, of how many children that entails, and you look at the impact that that has on those children's lives as they go on to live their lives, and the impact that it has on anyone and everyone that they come into contact with for the rest of their lives. I wonder, isn't that the biggest crime against humanity as opposed to what happened, tragically so? I don't agree with the transatlantic slave trade. Like, I'm glad it doesn't happen anymore, right? But
Hmm.
isn't there a difference
Yeah.
between what happens to children, the most vulnerable, as
Yeah,
opposed to
I think
adults?
the
Yeah.
thing was that transatlantic slavery was
Yeah.
organized by Britain. They were slave-shaped ships, especially designed to hold slaves and take them to America to produce crops like sugar and cotton, which was desired by us or the people who lived in UK. They
Mhm.
wanted to have cotton dresses for summer, and they wanted to have sugar. And
Right.
so they, and I actually don't know the numbers, but I think if you look at America, I think about 15% of America is black.
Right.
Um, so and they what, how many? 300 million, 400 million? I'm not sure what the number is. It
Right.
must have been an enormous number of
Yeah.
Africans, and
Yeah.
especially just Africans, um, taken, and they were like a crop. They died very
Oh,
quickly, and then another lot were taken and put in their place to carry on doing that. It was just industrial. And
yeah.
the way they
Yeah.
were treated there was, especially in the West Indies, in the hot areas where they could grow cotton and sugar, it
Mm.
was just merciless, the way they were
Well,
treated.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because, right, first of all, they weren't taken from Africa, they were bought from Africa. Okay. They were the most expensive slaves at the time in the world, and they were the best treated in the world. What we do tend to forget is the Irish slavery that happened back then. Those slaves who, families were torn apart, the men were took on ships to one part of the world, the women and the children were took on ships to another part of the world, and the vast majority of them didn't meet their location because they died on the ships. And that's where we hear of what was known as coffin ships because of
Yes.
how badly they were treated.
Yeah.
They were the worst treated slaves,
Yeah.
not the black Africans. So this is where, there's narrative and then there's facts. And I think this is why we need to break it down. We need to go into this. It's
Can
a
Lieutenant
huge
and the
topic.
guard? Can I just add something? Just
Yeah, please
what was
do.
it? You said it was a BBC article that said, right? So someone's opinion, subjective to whoever their author is, right? That it was the
Yeah.
greatest crime. I
Yeah.
mean,
No, it was a UN.
the
UN
Well,
has said,
the UN has deemed it. This article isn't from the
but I mean,
BBC,
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, that's a really strange claim because I mean, what is? I
isn't
mean,
it?
I've look, I've got here a list, right? Slavery occurred in civilizations, including, so this is from 11,000 years ago to the present. Ancient
Yeah.
Egypt, ancient China, the Akkadian Empire, Assyria, Babylonia, Persia, ancient Israel, and I mentioned the Torah earlier, ancient Greece, ancient India, the Roman Empire, the Arab Islamic caliphates, sultanates, Nubia, Aksum, the pre colonial empires of sub Saharan Africa, and the pre Columbian civilizations of the Americas. Ancient slavery consists of a mixture of debt slavery, punishment for crime, prisoners of war, child abandonment, and children born to slaves. So this is something that's gone on for like 11,000 years. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't, I'm sorry. I mean, to me, I mean, if you ask me the question, what's the biggest? I mean, I don't know. I'd say what the Khmer Rouge did in Cambodia, killing what 40 to 50% of the population, just because their skull physique didn't match up to like their socialist ideal. So they killed like
Yeah.
40-50%. And then the other one is the Agent Orange in Vietnam. I mean, that's killing people now and stuff, and babies are born like with like no arms and legs and things.
Yeah.
An award that they weren't even involved in, but the Agent Orange like corrupted their genetics so badly that these kids born 30, 40, 50 years later or whatever are paying the price for something that they weren't even, their souls weren't even in this earth. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I just find it strange. It's a strange one to say what is the worst crime. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I want to ask Lieutenant, when you're talking about the Irish slavery, I haven't heard about Irish slavery. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the potato famines or?
No, I'm talking about Irish slavery, where they were taken from their homes in Ireland, put on ships and sent out to the Caribbean and North America.
For what? For working?
Yes, as
I've
slaves.
never heard of this. Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
exactly.
that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which one is that? 18th century, 19th century? When was this?
Around, gosh, this is, I think we need to explore it. I'm thinking it's around like the 16, 17 and 1800s.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, over quite a
right at
period
the
of time.
beginning of the Americas and starting the trade there, you know, starting.
Well, I'm
growing
not
stuff.
sure about the beginning of Americas because the Americas began in the 1600s,
I
didn't
can
they?
add something.
Yeah.
Can I add something here?
Yes, quickly, because we will go to a break.
Okay, look up Sack of Baltimore, right, West Cork Island, June 20th, 1631. The West Cork was attacked by Ottoman Empire. 107 English and Irish villages were captured by the Ottomans, and they were taken to North Africa and sold into the Barbary slave trade.
I see.
Okay, so there's the Barbary slave trade.
And
as
apparently the Ottomans also in the 17th century went to Cornwall, Devon and Southern Ireland numerous times throughout the 17th century. I don't know.
Okay.
So, that being said, let us play a tune, have a little break, and we'll come back and we'll go through the article that has inspired this topic. Obviously, we've come out with a lot of different ideas and understandings of slavery and history, and we'll take it from the article onwards. Okay?
Lovely. Yeah.
Lovely.
Listen, is it true? Is it real? You see, people believe in karma, but I see a load of bitter revenge. People manipulating, making things happen. Listen, in the end, no one heals. They're hooked on revenge. Believing in possibilities, giving into hopeless mindsets. Believing in punishment, unaffordable rehabilitation. You see, people don't wanna hear about inclusion, at least not until they're faced with exclusion. Listen, in the end, no one heals. They're hooked on revenge. Listen, is it true? Is it real? Is it true? Is it real?
Yes. Is it real? Is it true? Back to slavery. Is slavery real? Is slavery true? Is the history that we think we know the truth? This is where we become explorers. The transatlantic slave trade is the gravest crime against humanity. Why the UN Declaration matters. So, this article is in a publication called The Conversation, with a strapline of academic rigor, journalistic flair. Now, this has been deemed as a very highly factual article. So, let's have a read through. Published 26th of March 2026 at 4:27 p.m. GMT, so London, UK time. This image obviously is an artistic impression of millions of Africans sold into slavery. Okay. The resolution passed by United Nations General Assembly on 25th of March 2026. There's
That's a
there's
funny
an
one.
error
That's a
already.
problem already.
Yeah.
Let me have a look at this. I've clicked on that link. Okay, I've clicked on that link and it takes me to the UN's website, and it says UN resolution urges reparations for slavery's historical wrongs. Oh, so it sounds like it's a grab of the taxpayers' money to hand it over.
But it
to
says
Africa,
25th of
possibly. Now, this
March.
is the 25th of March 2026. So there's obviously an error in that other article.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll read what is. Shall we read this? Or, yeah, I think we'll read this one instead, actually, the United Nations. So it says UN resolution urges reparations for slavery's historical wrongs.
Okay.
Applause erupted in the UN General Assembly Hall on Wednesday, yesterday that is, as member states adopted a resolution declaring the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity. The resolution, spearheaded by Ghana, received 123 votes in favour. 3 countries, Argentina, Israel, and the United States, voted against, and 52 abstained. Today, we come together in solemn solidarity to affirm truth and pursue a route to healing and reparative justice, said Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama, speaking ahead of the vote on behalf of the 54-member African group, the largest regional bloc at the UN. Oh dear, nothing like bias there, is there? Stolen, shackled, shipped. For more than 400 years, millions of people were stolen. I don't think so, from Africa.
They were actually, a lot of them were stolen by
Not all of them, no.
They were by traders within Africa. Other Africans stole other Africans, and then they took them and sold them in ships, and they were shipped to West Indies. Not by Europeans. Other Africans stole Africans.
Okay, so for more than 400 years, millions of people were stolen from Africa, put in shackles, and shipped to the New World to toil in cotton fields and sugar and coffee plantations under scorching heat and the crack of the whip. Denied their basic humanity and even their own names, they were forced to endure generations of exploitation with repercussions that reverberate today, including persistent anti-Black racism and discrimination. The resolution emphasized the trafficking of enslaved Africans and racialized chattel enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity by reason of the definitive break in world history, scale, duration, systemic nature, brutality, and enduring consequences that continue to structure the lives of all people through racialized regimes of labor, property, and capital.
What's this word? Chattel?
Yeah, and what
Enslavement? What's that word
I don't
means?
know. I'm searching it now. Oh, a slave, an article of movable personal property, any item of movable or immovable property except the freehold or the things which are parcel of it. It
Chattel.
is,
That means chattel, yes. I
yeah,
see. Okay.
so
Racialized chattel enslavement. That's what they're talking about. Of Africa.
racialized, that means racialized slave enslavement.
Of Africans. So
Yeah,
Africans were of a certain race and they were treated like chattel, like objects basically, and
slaves.
enslaved and moved about. Yes, okay.
Yeah, okay. There are spirits of the victims of slavery present in this room at this moment. Oh my God. This sounds like a cult. And they are listening for one word only justice. Esther Phillips, first poet laureate of Barbados. Show me the evidence of the spirits of the victims of slavery. I mean, does that not sound like a load of nonsense coming from the top, like world
Um,
leaders?
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, I have to disagree with you. I think they have suffered and they are still suffering. And the evidence of it is the fact that when Britain needed labor and they went to the West Indies and they got these bus drivers and street sweepers and all these different labor they brought from Barbados, which originally were descendants of slaves who, but because they
No,
were
no, no, no,
black,
no, 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 no. Britain didn't bring any black slaves into England.
no, labor force from West Indies came in the 1950s and 60s to fill up the jobs which there were shortages for. So a lot of people from West Indies, perhaps it was 60s and 70s more. Anyway, they came in, but they were discriminated against. I mean, there's lots of programs in television I mean, still are on YouTube. You can watch them. How they tried to go into churches, and the white people just shunned them. They didn't want them there. So then
The
they
people of
eventually,
the people, yeah, yeah, the people of this land who didn't bring those people here didn't want them here. That's
they were
right.
Christian. They were Christians.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The people of this land did not
Mm.
bring those other peoples here. You see, the people of this land, there's something that's just trampled over all the time. The people of this land live here. This is their home. And they don't invite these people, they don't bring these outside people into this country. But the people in positions of power do against our will. And it's us who has to give consent.
I don't, okay, it's you're quite right. It was a Labour government who brought them in, or
Doesn't
um,
matter. We have never
yeah.
been asked for our consent.
But if a government finds there are not enough bus drivers, or not enough nurses, or not enough
That's for
care,
private industry to deal with, not a socialist system that is destroying us.
how would you deal with it, Lieutenant? I mean, at the moment, I know people who are cared for, and all the nurses or the carers, apparently from South Africa, and I met one who was a highly educated, university educated lady, But they said to her, the only job you can, and this was she brought in by private enterprise, the only job you can apply for and you get a resident in UK is to accept to be a carer. And after 5 years of caring, doing a caring job, then you would get the residence and you could live in UK. And this lady who was caring for my friend, and I just happened, she came in and I started talking to her. She said she had her own house, two houses, in fact, she had, but she wanted, I don't think she could earn a living enough in South Africa, so she decided to come to UK. And even though she was educated, she decided, okay, I'll be a carer for 5 years. And she was
So
just doing,
these people are entering this country against the wishes of the people of this land.
you reckon?
Yeah. Yeah. You know why? None of us have even been asked, and therefore it's illegal. It goes against our constitution.
How is it?
And then we're shamed into accepting them instead of saying, no, we don't want them here. We don't want immigrants here. We have enough of our own people. This is a tiny island. We can't be given jobs away to other people. This goes on throughout history. And I've heard about this down the lines of my family. I don't need to read about it anywhere. Okay? This is our home, right? And constantly the elites, the royals and whatnot, are always trying to bring in people from the outside to replace us, to use us up at will. But this is our home, and we are never asked for consent to bring people in, and we do not consent. I've got lineage that goes all the way back. Not one of us has given consent to anyone coming in. So it's not like made up, okay? And I'm not the only one that is of this land that has the same kind of mindset throughout our lineage, because we are such a tiny island. We have enough to get on with ourselves. We don't need more people coming in.
Okay, I will give you another example, Lieutenant. Sorry, I have to make this point. We live in a fruit growing region, apple trees, gooseberries, currants, and all that other kind of fruit grows around here. So the farmer who has a fruit farm and he wants his fruit to be picked, apples to be picked, and originally they used to just employ gangs of housewives who would go and help pick the apples.
Yeah.
And it was fine. But I don't know what happened. Gradually, the housewife didn't want to do it anymore. Would not go to pick up the apples. So the
the suffragettes and all of that is what happened. The turning of man against woman and woman against man is what happened. The girl power thing is what happened. By design, this has happened.
How do you mean? I think the pay wasn't enough.
Are you kidding me? Compared to today, you didn't have man and wife having to go out to work, both of them, right? And pay someone a pittance to raise their children, right? And still not be able to afford their own home, and still not be able to put a good meal on the table and all the rest of it, like what we have today. It was never like that. The woman stayed at home. She was the homemaker. She raised the children, and the man would go out to work. And at the end of the day, 6 o'clock, they're all sitting around the table eating a healthy meal together and having good times together, fruitful relationships. Yeah. And there wasn't the strains and stresses of, is this my own home or not? Am I going to be homeless tomorrow or not? You cannot say that today we are better than what we were yesterday. No way.
Well, it depends we have to look at different periods in history. I mean, let's not forget in the 1940s, Britain experienced a world war. I mean, there were
Yeah,
shortages and people were rationed. Food was rationed, and even
yeah.
it carried on afterwards, after the war. And
Hmm.
then this idea of the labor shortages come in. Um, but this farmer nearby us, he actually brought, he used to bring, he's got rid of his trees now. Um, he used to bring Polish workers every year for about 7 months, 7 or 8 months, and they were his gang. Then they used to come and
Yeah,
pick the
which is
fruit.
disgusting when we've got our own youth that could be doing it between school and college and university holidays.
So you
But
think
anyway, let sorry.
I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. I don't really know the fact. How did the farmer decide that he should bring Polish workers instead of employing housewives and
Because they're
um,
cheaper.
cheaper? Yeah, yeah, could be that.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
it says, which is despicable, from the United Nations, right? This is spiritual abuse. There are spirits of the victims of slavery present in this room at this moment. As if this Esther Phillips is a medium, and that's who I'm going to turn to for any advice about the walking dead. And they are listening for one word only: justice. I mean, come on. Taking money off people today to do what with? For the dead.
I don't
Right.
think it's asking for money, actually, is it?
Yes, that is what this is about. What do you think reparations in the title of this article
Oh,
is?
okay,
UN
okay,
resolution urges reparations for slavery's historical wrongs.
okay.
That's what this is for.
Okay.
This is how Africa wants to get money out of us.
Mm-hmm.
So address wrongs, support reparations. It affirmed the importance of addressing historical wrongs affecting Africans and people of the diaspora in a manner that promotes justice, human rights, dignity, and healing, while emphasizing that claims for reparations represent a concrete step towards remedy. The text was highly problematic in countless respects. Ambassador Dan Negria, US representative to the UN Economic and Social Council, that's ECOSOC, said prior to the vote. He regretted that Washington must once again remind this body that the United Nations exists to maintain international peace and security, and was not founded to advance narrow specific interests and agendas, to establish niche international days, or to create new costly meeting and reporting mandates. Furthermore, the US does not recognize a legal right to reparations for historical wrongs that were not illegal under international law at the time they occurred. I agree with that as well. We've improved the
Mm-hmm.
laws since then. A
Mm-hmm.
grave human rights violation. The horrors of slavery echoed in the General Assembly Hall as member states commemorated the International Day to remember its victims. The slave trade and slavery stand among the gravest violations of human rights in human history, an affront to the very principles enshrined in the Charter of our United Nations at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, themselves born in part from these injustices of the past, said Assembly President Annalena Baerbock. The countries where enslaved Africans were taken from also suffered a hollowing out, having lost entire generations who potentially could have helped them to prosper. It was, to put it in colder terms, mass resource extraction, she said. Remove persistent barriers. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for confronting slavery's lasting legacies of inequality and racism. Now, we must remove the persistent barriers that prevent so many people of African descent from exercising their rights and realizing their potential, he said. We must commit fully and without hesitation to human rights, equality, and the inherent worth of every person. In this regard, the Second International Decade for People of African Descent and the African Union's Decade of Reparations are significant. Respect for African countries. He urged countries to use them to drive action to eradicate systemic racism, ensure reparatory justice, and accelerate inclusive development marked by equal access to education, health, employment, housing, and a safe environment. But far bolder actions by many more states are needed, he added. This includes commitments to respect African countries' ownership of their own natural resources and steps to ensure their equal participation and influence in the global financial architecture and the UN Security Council. No peace without reparatory justice. The poet laureate of Barbados, Esther Phillips, read from some of her works, including a piece about a young girl walking on the grounds of a former sugar plantation and not understanding its historical significance as her ancestors buried there look on. There are spirits of the victims of slavery present in this room at this moment, and they are listening for one word only: justice. Ms. Phillips told delegates, because for them and for the world there can be no peace without justice, reparatory justice, and that call is answered only when words are turned into action. The question is, what will you do? Well, well.
Interesting. I agree that there is no peace without justice. I agree with that. But I don't know how would you give justice to people who have already passed on, died. And by giving money to the people who are alive now, you don't give justice to those people. It's not like that. I don't know how would you give them justice by acknowledging. I think by acknowledging that what went on was wrong, you are giving them justice. Really, without you can't do it with money. I don't think it's about money. And is by making sure it doesn't happen again. I suppose in the same way that the Holocaust was a great miscarriage of justice, and by acknowledging it and remembering that it happened, we stop it from happening again, and we at least give justice to the people who were sacrificed the way they were.
Well, I think this is about taking money from the West. This isn't
Yes,
about
okay.
what you're saying. I mean, as far as I know, we have treaties, we have things in international law where it's illegal,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
the laws have been sorted out.
yeah.
Sorry, go
But
ahead.
what you read was one lady, I can't remember her name, she's actually disagreeing about the money part. She was, you read something. I can't remember where it was now.
Yes, well, I think she said about justice, didn't she?
Yeah. She
Yeah.
said about
Now,
justice, but she didn't talk about money, or she didn't think money was part of it, really.
did she say that she didn't think money was part of it?
I think if you go back, she had a picture of her.
She was just a poet, wasn't she?
No, not the poet bit. Another lady. A picture of her here. After this one, go up a little bit more. It's after There's a picture of a lady, and then it was that lady, and it
This one.
what you read after this picture. This one here.
So she said the slave trade and slavery stand among the gravest violations of human rights in human history, an affront to the very principles enshrined in the Charter of our United Nations and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, themselves born in part from these injustices of the past. It was, to put it in colder terms, mass resource extraction, she said.
But she said, made a comment about not money. It's commemoration day.
Let's watch this little video. I think this,
Yeah.
we've got time for this.
We can't hear her.
Yeah, I can't hear her.
You can't hear her? Let me see what's
No.
going on. Well, I don't know why that is. Let me see.
Could you hear it?
Yes, but I'm playing it
Oh, okay.
in the browser, aren't I?
I've just seen Simon K in the chat, and the guy and Lieutenant. Just
yeah, I'd rather not mention, and I think I'll be removing that one from the chat in a minute. Right. Well, if you can't hear her, let's spend the last 20 minutes on the other article.
Okay.
So the other article began with the resolution passed by United Nations General Assembly on 25th of May, wrongly says May instead of March, 2026, seeking recognition of the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity, potentially creates a broader definition of crimes against humanity in international law and allows for restitution claims against perpetrators. The resolution could elevate the legal and moral standard for what counts as the worst crimes against humanity and compel more people to legally pursue reparations or compensation cases and thus deter such crimes. Proposed by Ghana, it was adopted with 123 votes. The United States, Israel, and Argentina voted against it. 52 countries abstained, among them the UK and European states. There has never been a single gravest crime designation applied to one human event or condition. Instead, international law defines categories of crimes considered the most serious. Examples are genocide, war crimes, crimes of aggression, and crimes against humanity. Being classified under these categories triggers severe legal consequences. These include global prosecution, lifelong accountability, international sanctions, and reparation claims. Ghana's declaration views transatlantic slavery and its system of forced African labour as the worst crime ever committed. It explains how millions of Africans were abducted, treated like property, and abused because of their race. The declaration points out that the effects of slavery still influence inequality and racism today. It calls on all nations to recognise what happened, teach its history honestly, and remember the victims. It also works towards fixing the lasting damage, including institutional and monetary reparations. I am a professor of history who has researched and written extensively on the slave trade and its impact. I argue that Ghana's resolution represents more than a moral or diplomatic statement. It marks a decisive step in an ongoing effort of historical reclamation and political transformation. It asserts that the histories of enslavement, displacement, and organized theft are foundational to the modern world. More importantly, it insists that recognition must lead to action. For contemporary Africa, this moment is about leveraging historical truth to reshape present conditions and future possibilities within a global system still marked by the legacies of transatlantic slaving. Slavery shaped the modern world. Dear God. Transatlantic slaving was not an isolated historical episode, but a foundational process that made the modern world. Between the 15th and 19th centuries, over 12 million Africans were forcibly removed from their homelands. It was a massive organized system of theft that left African societies dealing with long-term demographic, political, and economic disruptions. During the 1800s, slavery changed form. It became tied to European imperialism. Powerful nations such as Britain and France took over land in Africa and other regions. The countries that had been major slave traders became the leading imperial powers in Africa. For example, French forces in the late 1800s still captured people and forced them into service. Laws in French West Africa didn't truly end slavery. They simply allowed colonial governments to take over land. The colonizing countries often claimed they were bringing civilization. Similarly, European colonizers in Central Africa, especially under Belgian rule in Congo Free State, 1885 to 1908, caused massive suffering and death. Around 10 million people died over about 40 years. The creation of diaspora communities. Over the course of transatlantic slaving, Africans participated, resisted, adapted, and preserved cultural and intellectual systems that would later shape diaspora communities and their bonds with Africa. Those bonds included shared historical experiences, cultural practices, religious systems, political ideas, and intellectual traditions that traveled and transformed across the ocean. Recent calls for reparatory justice emerge from this long-standing network of connections. Ghana's resolution comes out of a convergence of continental and diaspora political efforts. African states and Caribbean nations have increasingly coordinated their positions on historical injustice and reparations. Ghana's resolution was built on earlier declarations. The Abuja Proclamation of 1993. It formally recognized that a moral debt is owed to the peoples of Africa for slavery and colonization. The Durban Declaration and Programme of Action, tabled at the United Nations in 2001. In it, transatlantic slaving was acknowledged as a crime against humanity. The Ghana Declaration sets a precedent. It seeks to redefine the moral language of the international order. Elevating it as the gravest crime underscores slavery's scale and duration. Its systemic nature establishes it as the fundamental architect of global capitalism, racial hierarchies, and modern state formation. Why it matters. The Ghana Declaration recognizes the centrality of transatlantic slavery and compels a reassessment of how modern inequalities are explained and addressed. For contemporary Africa, this recognition carries material implications. The aftermath of transatlantic slaving are evident in patterns of underdevelopment, external dependency, and unequal integration into global markets. A formal recognition at the highest level of international governance strengthens the basis for claims to reparatory justice. Such claims may take multiple forms. These may include investment in infrastructure, education, and health systems, There could also be reforms to global financial institutions that boost mobilizing resources within African borders. Equally significant is the resolution's role in consolidating Pan-African and diasporic solidarity. By aligning African states with Caribbean nations and broader diaspora communities, it reactivates a political consciousness rooted in shared histories and strategic alignments. A unified transatlantic African bloc possesses greater leverage within and outside international institutions and can more effectively advocate for systemic transformation. The Ghana Resolution also functions as a global educational intervention. Public understanding of transatlantic slaving often remains fragmented or minimized. This is true particularly in regions where some groups or historical individuals benefited from it. By placing this issue before the United Nations General Assembly, Ghana compels a broader confrontation with the scale and consequences of transatlantic slaving. This is essential for historical accuracy as well as for shaping near future policies and coordinated actions. Resistance lies ahead. The resolution will face resistance. Some nations, such as the United States and Great Britain, remain wary of the legal and financial implications of a gravest crime recognition. The subject of reparations for them is contentious and untenable. These tensions reveal enduring asymmetries in global power and the difficulty of translating moral and historical claims into enforceable outcomes. Yet resistance itself underscores the resolution's significance. It exposes the extent to which historical injustices remain embedded in contemporary political and economic power arrangements.
That's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, they are not actually like asking for money there. They're saying there should be an educational thing for people to appreciate the effect it has left in our understanding, if you like, and all the discrimination against the blacks which exists, it stems from that. It stems from the fact that they were considered less human than us. And I didn't realize it was 15 million of them were taken as slaves. That's an enormous number.
I know something as well. I know Lloyd's Bank profited from it. I know that Lloyd's Bank apparently did make a huge amount out of it.
Yes. Yeah. Because
Hugo Boss made an absolute fortune out of Nazis, the uniform and everything like that. Are we going to shut Hugo Boss down? Porsche is responsible for all of the tanks made for the Nazis. Are we going to shut Porsche down? This is just ridiculous.
Oh no, Lieutenant, it was just a general. There was no real meaning attached.
I'm
just talking about like this entire idea of reparations. When does it end? You did this, so I want that. It's revenge. It's not reparations. It's revenge.
I think the idea of us acknowledging it, it's fine.
People do that when they learn about it in history. Why does there have to be fanfare about it? But why does it have to be, racism this, racism that, to make racism a thing when it isn't because of racism why people were unaccepting of people coming into their home? They had a load of people coming into their home against their will. It wasn't anything to do with anyone's skin color.
But you see, again, it's the government and the people in power in UK. Without being asked, they went into India and took over that country and governed it for a period.
We were asked to go in, and it was private individuals.
So.
It wasn't our government. It was private individuals. Same with Egypt. And indeed, when those private individuals tried to leave, they were begged to stay.
I just add one thing where I don't need to say it maybe 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
I won't say much after. Just if you're gonna give the reparations for that, yeah, like ask yourself what door does that open for the next precedent?
Exactly.
No, but then I would say this, yeah, going back to the point I made at the beginning of the thing. Slavery occurred in these following places: ancient Egypt, ancient China, Akkadian Empire, Assyria, Babylonia, Persia, ancient Israel, and that's bracket Mosaic law, ancient Greece, ancient India, the Roman Empire, the Arab Islamic Caliphates, Sultanates, Nubia, Aksum, and the pre-colonial empires of sub-Saharan Africa. So what I'm just saying is,
Mongolia. Yeah.
So what I'm just saying is, like, if you're going to give reparations to them, don't forget all those 11,000 years before, in the spirit of
It
fairness
goes.
and
It
justice.
goes. It's
Yeah,
throughout.
that's it.
It's throughout human history. It doesn't end.
No,
We're
but
going to be paying the dead people.
No, but I say if you're going to give reparations to them, then don't forget the 11,000 years before them too. That's all I'm saying. That's all I got to say.
Yes, I'm
Rupert,
agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying to you,
Yeah,
Ravioli.
yeah.
It doesn't
Hello?
end.
Yeah,
It doesn't end.
when
Hello?
you say I would just talk for 30 seconds, don't
Yes.
say it
Yeah.
because it takes usually a lot longer.
Okay, 45 seconds of that one. I'm done now.
No, say 3 minutes. That would be
I didn't
more
speak for 3
accurate.
minutes then. I don't think I spoke for 3 minutes then.
You've
It's
spoken.
fine. There's no timer. There's no timer. But she's
Anyway.
right. If we're going to be literal, if we're going to be critical thinkers, we need to be as precise as possible.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'll sit on the fence there.
I'll tell you what, I'll add one thing. I just like another thing I will say
Yep.
though, is that a lot of those empires, like the British Empire, French, say, right, they did. I don't want to bring religion and theology into it, Lieutenant and the guard, but they did believe in Jesus, right? Catholic or Protestants at that time, France and England. I don't know. From what I know of the gospel, Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I don't know going around and slaving Africans is what he would have done, and they were doing things in his name, and that's all I'll say on that. Okay.
Well, the history of mankind is very, very messy and very, very shameful in parts, and there's lots of horrors in it. And I think we just have to accept it. It is like that. And now that we've come to this age and this amount of understanding, it's only since the 19th century that we have actually thought slavery was wrong. Before that, we didn't. And when it was first in the parliament, they started talking about it. I think somebody called Wilberforce started talking about it. People poo-pooed him. He said, well, it's not possible to run any country without slavery. But gradually people found that it's possible. And
Well, it's interesting now with the future. If you think the computer chip, AI, and robotics, I mean, what's the future going to look like then?
Well, let's not go into doomsaying about something that we don't know anything about, which is the next moment, right? Let's not bring about an anxiety attack, okay, Ravioli?
Okay.
No, Ravioli. Let's not bring about an anxiety attack. But what I think we should now be considering is if you think that people took a long time to turn against slavery, doesn't that tell you that it was so widely accepted because they didn't know anything else? So it took a while to change, but it did change. And isn't that good?
Yes.
That's called evolution, is it
absolutely
not?
right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think as to how to look at it and go forward in the right way and make sure that we don't have discrimination to people because of their color. So a brown person going to the bank wanting to get a loan can get it, as well as a black person, as well as a pink person. Everybody going with the same qualification to a bank to get, or with same amount of credit, if you like, and could get a loan to start a business. But as I understand it in America, it's not so. A black person has to have 10 times as much credit as a white person to be able to get well, that's what I've heard on television. I don't know more. I get my information from the media. I don't have I don't have contact with Americans to know what's happening in America. So I assume they're right when they say these things.
Well, I think as this exploration of this topic continues on another night, in the
Yeah.
future, which we're not going to have an anxiety attack about ravioli, I'm closing this down. We shall no doubt find out more about that. So, without further ado, explorers, thank you for being with me. Please hang backstage. I'm going to play us a bit of an outro. Thank you, everyone who's been in the live chat, whether you've been here loving, hating, enjoying, discussing, or just lurking. Thank you.
Thank you,
exploring.
Lieutenant. Very interesting.
Thank you for exploring with us. Good night and God bless. Until next time.
She's laughing with a whiteboard clear, unpacking a fresh pack of pens, never willing to accept of fear. She's loved in many channels, every gauge and on nights and black blue lights. Heaven help them when she recites. Mysterious life, girl got skills. She moves in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. Makeshift desk and a cat that bites. When you see her coming, take your pills. No place for snowflakes or sensitive hearts. When sentiment is left to chance, she'll send you back to your start. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switches to crumpet, bends them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Verse by verse, exploring the text. She reads and recites, not knowing the tongue, learning every step of the way. Melts all your memories and feeds you facts. Her zeal is like fire, but her heart is of gold. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switch to crumpet, bands them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Smooth moderator.